Hi, I'm Bill Kelly. You know, we're usually feeling pretty upbeat, but tonight we're literally on top of the world. Reporting to you from the land of the midnight sun, the community of Nanisivik on the northern tip of Baffin Island, 700 kilometers from the Arctic Circle. But we're getting just a little bit ahead of our story. The story ends here, but it begins back home on the south coast of Newfoundland. We're in Terrenceville, a community of 950 people on the Burin Peninsula. Terrenceville is a real study in contrast. It's a typical fishing community, but there's hardly any fishing. There's not a whole lot of work, but everybody has a job. There's virtually no economic base, but the place is booming. Here in Terrenceville, you'll find big, beautiful houses, lots of them. And would you believe, hardly any mortgages. They've got the best of everything. The very latest designs. The ultimate in family living. Recreational machines of every type and description. This is one of the richest towns in the province. A far cry from the place Pius Hines remembers as a child.
Well, I'll tell you how bad it was. Generally, you wouldn't live at all only, you rear all your vegetables.
Mr. Hines, now 80 years old, recalls one incident when as a teenager working in the woods, word reached his camp that people back home were actually dying of starvation.
And we had to take then the flour right on our backs, 37 miles through the woods, through the bogs. We brought over molasses, pork, and flour. But when we got over there, the people seemed pretty bad shape. We got over there, he was just alive, and that's all.
Actually starving to death, were they?
Starving to death, yes, starving to death.
Ironically, as we're talking with Mr. Hines, a young guy zips along in his expensive sports car. He's one of the many Terrencevillers who make big money these days working out of province. People like Tim McCarthy, who leaves his young family much of the year to work on the railway gangs in Western Canada. Men like Tom McCarthy, who works in a mine in the Northwest Territories. And older fellows like John McCarthy and Pete Hines, who've been at it for the past 30 years, working as heavy equipment operators all over the north.
You look beyond the horizons and, you see brighter lights more or less, and you know what other people done. And there's no, if you're going to be a construction worker, you got to move from Terrenceville and go to wherever construction, you got to chase it. That's what we done.
Well, we went to Baffin Island in 75.
But at the same time, it was something that you felt you had to do, and you do.
You had to do it, sure, Had to do it or go on the government, or, Nobody around here wants to do that if they can help it,
Like most Newfoundlanders, John and Pete are avid woodsmen, but they spend most of the year well above the tree line, with little time for recreation. So when they do get home, they take full advantage of the local countryside.
Every chance we get, we're gone in the bush someplace. Any day is a good day. We're gone in cutting firewood or sitting in rabbit slips or just looking around at the country, and that's what we look forward to. We could get up there, all year round, but when you're working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, you want to get a break. So this is what we do. We like to get a break home in the wintertime because it's all winter up there, with snow. This is summer for us when we come home here in the wintertime.
John and Pete will be home for another while, but John's brother Tom is enjoying the last bit of sunshine he'll see for the next couple of months. Tom, I guess this is the last time you'll get to use the machine for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before I get to use it again because I'm going to the Northwest Territories next Wednesday.
To do what?
So I'm going up there as a heavy equipment operator in the mine there.
What? But it's total darkness up there now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all dark there now until around the middle of April.
So what, they operate all year round, even in the Arctic?
12 months of the year, yeah.
Well, it's going to be pretty cold, too.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be cold, 40, 50 below.
Tim McCarthy and his family live in a trailer right now, but a few more years on the railway out west, and he, too, will be moving into his own house. Tim left home right after finishing school. It's the thing to do in Terrenceville.
For me, it started in 1978. A lot of guys from here were already working with the railway. But when we got around it, they were take him in from the employment office in Mayorstown. So I went there and put in my name and for when I got out of school. And they called me. I went there for the summer. There ever since.
So around this community now, Tim, everyone, I suppose, almost expected that they go away from home, did they?
Yes. Yeah.
What's the hardest part for you?
Leaving the kids and wife. So.
Are you happy with this arrangement of Tim going away to work?
No.
You'd rather he stayed home?
Oh, yes. If he had a job home. But, I mean, he got to do it for the work, right?
Yeah. So that in that sense, you are
Yes.
satisfied with it?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He says it's hard for him. What's it like for you?
Oh, it's just bad for me. So. The kids, and I got to take all the responsibility while he's gone with the house and the kids. And while he's gone, I mean, he's gone for 6, 7 months, and when he get back, the kids don't know who he is, and after forgetting about him. And,
But they almost shy away from him.
oh, yes, yeah.
So it's a while before they get used to him again.
That's right.
And then I suppose he spoils them rotten.
Definitely. He always do.
And then when he leaves again, you've got the whole job of trying to straighten him
Start
up.
all over again. Please?
This is the time Tim and Jeannie dread. Time to leave. Their 4-year-old daughter Ashley is outside playing with her friends. And at 1.5 years, Jenna is too young to understand.
You put that.
But Tim and Jeannie understand only too well. They'll be apart for the next 7 months.
Molly.
All that old big stuff, Jeannie, throw that in the hockey bag, sure.
Yeah. Where's Daddy going?
No,
Going away?
no.
Yes, he is. Okay, then.
Yes, Jenna, Daddy is going away, far away. But if you stay with us, he'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back. We're in Invermere, British Columbia, a sleepy little resort town not far from the Alberta border. About 3.5 hours drive from Calgary. Tourism is a big year-round industry here. Downhill skiing in the winter and all sorts of water sports in the summer. But CP Rail is a big employer here too, a very close second. 3 a.m. Invermere sleeps. But it's time to roll for Tim McCarthy and the CP Rail gang operating just outside of town. Today, they'll be working on a section of the main line about 5 miles down the track. It'll be dawn by the time all the equipment is in place.
Boss, I'm just going to touch these right back in there and show you, check that switch, see it's line for the siding.
It's extremely slow going, but by 6 o'clock in the morning, we're just about there, just about ready to swing into action. This gang is known as the BC Tie and Ballast Crew. Tim McCarthy, the young fellow from Terrenceville, is their foreman. Tim also operates the lead machine and coordinates the work of his 60-man crew. The machine is called a track skeletonizer. It's $1 million piece of equipment that picks the track right out of the ground. There's still a fair bit of labor work here, but before Tim's machine came along a few years ago, most of the work was done by hand. Today, a locomotive pulls the skeletonizer along the rails, and they've got machinery to do most of the heavy work. As you can imagine, productivity is way up. So far this year, this gang alone has laid 12,000 new ties and 14,000 tons of ballast. The section of track the crew is working on today is one of the busiest in Canada. It's used to move nearly 50 million tons a year, mostly coal for the U.S. The coal trains travel at 65 miles an hour, and if the tracks aren't kept in good shape, they're guaranteed to jump the rails. Proper maintenance is critical here, and that's why gangs like this one are working all summer long in Western Canada. In every one of them, you'll find more than your fair share of Newfoundlanders.
On this crew here, 22 of us. Most of us from Fortune Bay, St. Bernard's, Grand Lapeer, all around those places. One guy from Harbour Britain, I think there's one guy from St. John's.
Now, there's only a few fellows from Terranceville on this crew. What happened?
Yeah, I guess everybody went to the steel gang. They're working over there. There's must be 20 or more over there. Well, last week they were working right beside us here.
But of course, you guys never know where you'll be from one week to the next, eh?
No, but with the steel gang, those guys are moving all the time. This one here, usually we're a little bit slower, but we do move a lot.
So down the road, 20 miles or so, there's another 20 or 25 guys from Terranceville, and they're all over Western Canada as well, eh?
Oh yeah, all over the place. Almost every railway gang, you got Newfoundlanders here. But one guy gets another guy a job, and he gets another guy a job, and you know.
And before you know it, half the community's out here.
Yeah.
The paymaster here says over the years, Newfoundlanders have developed a reputation out here for hard work and dependability.
Most of the bosses really like the Newfies because they're out here. They don't take time off. They work and they work the hours wherever they want them to work. You know, work weekends, everything, because they don't go nowhere on weekends, so they can get them to work.
Okay, so I know you do a lot of the hiring, or you act for the bosses. Mm-hmm. So, how would you handle that?
Well, most of the guys that are on the gangs here, they have people in Newfoundland that are looking for jobs, so they come in and see me, and we have a list, more or less, and Newfies are pretty well up there at top. The gang I had before this, when I worked, there was 84 men, 42 were Newfoundlanders. 18 or 19 of them that year just from Terranceville itself. They had no problem, like the Prairie Ballast gangs were, 3/4 of them are Newfoundlanders.
Here in Invermere, the rail gang, especially the Newfoundlanders, have drawn a lot of interest, even tweaked the curiosity of a reporter with the local paper.
So what can we expect to see? Is it a feature story, or?
Oh yeah, it's a feature. Mainly on the 22 Newfoundlanders that are here, that come so far to work. There's interest when there's people that are coming into the community for that length of time, because it's hard to appreciate that you have to come 3,000-4,000 miles just to find work.
So how have you found the Newfoundlanders? You've talked to them at this stage?
Oh yeah, they're very friendly people, really warm, down to earth.
So I'll lay down the machine now and just go up there and we'll hold
that out, and then I'll come back and take it right out of there, will I?
Yeah,
do it that
The
way.
super wants to work a couple of extra hours.
Hey, you wanna come with me there?
Bad weather may put them behind tomorrow. Early evening. The forecast was right. Thunder and lightning, heavy rain. As good a night as any for a game of darts in the recreation car.
We play a couple times a week. Just got 4 teams, just like back home in Byron. 4 teams, 5 teams. Just pass away at night.
And what kind of games do you play?
We just 1,001, 5 games.
You keep averages and all that?
Oh yeah, keep all the averages, all the score and finishes. Just makes the interesting play.
Well, I suppose when you're out here, you don't have a whole lot more to do you?
No.
Right, boys, see you in the morning.
I don't mind the work here. You know, I'd love to have a job like this back home. People out here are pretty nice. But, I miss my family, wife, kids.
So as good as the guys are?
Still think about home a lot.
From the BC Rockies to the high Arctic, the two places have little in common except our Terranceville connection. This is Nanisivik on Baffin Island, site of one of the most advanced lead and zinc mines in the world. 13 years ago, the men of Terranceville helped carve this place out of the Arctic wilderness, and to this day, they're an important part of the operation. When Nanisivik Mines first came here, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. 1 year and $80 million later, the whole works was in place. The mine, the grinding mill, the machine shops, the dock, the airport, the fire department, the hospital, and the school. Everything completely self-contained, all done in record time in the harshest climate known to man. At the time, the shipping season was only 2 months long, and all the construction supplies had to be brought in a massive sea lift. Even today, with a slightly longer shipping season, a whole year's supplies must be ordered in advance, and the mine's production, 120,000 tons, must be stockpiled and then shipped out all at once in huge freighters. The mine itself is a relatively simple operation. It's horizontal. It goes in one side of the mountain and comes out at the other end.
This is one of several entrances to the mine here. We can't show you a whole lot, it's pitch black. But back behind me there are miles and miles of huge tunnels carved right out of the Arctic permafrost, stretching from one end of the mountain to the other.
It's just after midnight as Tom McCarthy returns from a mid-shift break. Tom had a surface job here for years, but this is his first season in the mine.
Underground was a bit complicated at first because you had to work in the dark, right? And you with lights on your machine and a light on your cap, that's all you got in there. Well, it took me about a month, 2 months before I got really used to it and working in the dark. With lights on the machine, but it's not the same as outside. Outside you got all the daylight and you can see everything around you, but in there you can only see as far as the lights goes on your machine.
The adjustment for Tom isn't nearly as great as it would be in a normal narrow vein mine. There's no shaft and no water because of the permafrost. It's not like mining at all, really, more like working in a subway construction project. This mine is one of the most profitable in North America. The layout allows them to mine in bulk, excavating large portions of the rock and just leaving pillars for support. This also means a relatively small workforce of 180, fully 1/4 of whom are Newfoundlanders. Over on the other side of the mountain, 2 more Terrancevillers have just finished pushing through an exploratory road to a new ore body. John McCarthy and Pete Hines are legends in these parts. They've been heavy equipment operators here since day one, and over the years, they've done it all.
Every road you drove on here, he belonged to us. We put our name on it, yeah, pretty well. All the mine roads and the haul roads, the drill pad roads, we built them, me and Pete.
We've been all over the mountains here, making drill pads and roads to the drill pads and that, you know.
Well, we have a nickel for every blade that we pushed around this place. We've had a lot of money.
The top man at Nanisivik is Jim Marshall. He says Newfoundlanders like the McCarthy brothers and Pete Hines have been a key to the mine's success.
They've stayed with us. They appreciate the facilities we have, are very cost conscious, and I think they have set the tone of this whole operation right from when we started in '76. And so we particularly are interested in recruiting Newfoundlanders.
Isolation is the biggest problem in Nanisivik. Salaries of over $50,000 make it easy to attract workers, but it's a job to keep them. For some reason, Newfoundlanders are different. They come, and for the most part, they stay for years.
My name is Sullivan, Adrian Sullivan, from Harbour Main, Newfoundland.
I'm Wilson Quinton, from Bonavista Bay, Newfoundland.
Kevin Lee is my name. I'm from Carbonear, Newfoundland. I'm originally from St. Mary's Bay. I've been working here now for 8-9 years.
Eric Newman, from Springdale, Newfoundland.
Thank you very much.
Repairing seal in this lever.
Over on the hill, John and Pete have turned their attention from the road to cleaning out an entrance to the new ore body. This is the place where the drillers and the rest of the exploration crew will go underground. Now this is very dangerous work. Pete's machine is perched on the top of the porthole, 30 to 40 feet up. Underneath the first few inches of soft clay, there's pure ice. John is directly below. One mistake here could be your last.
I'm hoping he's watching out for me because, you know, I can't really see what he's doing up there, but he can see my cab. In the meantime, we'll watch out for one another. We've done this work a dozen times before, and we work pretty safe. We wouldn't like to make a mistake because you won't get a second chance if he puts a blade full of stuff on the cab down there.
When we're working at the porthole there, it's dangerous because we got permafrost area. And when you take off the material that thaws out, you got all frost and icing under, so you got to be careful. Make sure you get the machine the right angle when you're pushing in like that. The way the machine got to be falling down the heel. You got to use your motor to push it in. Like if she go in neutral and you got the weight of the tractor into the porthole, it's dangerous. She's going to slide in. But when you got the weight of your machine away from the porthole, if something happens, she's going to fall away instead of going in.
And in to another normal night shift in mid-July. Normal, that is, except for the weather. Up here in the Arctic, it's a balmy 8 degrees.
John, people back home are not going to believe this is the Arctic.
Oh, we've been lucky so far.
Really warm here today, eh?
Last week or so. We're scared when weather's like this. We're going to get a windstorm or a snowstorm probably.
So you got to take this weather when you get it, eh?
Well, we got to work and give her one when we can. Because it could snow here tomorrow or rain or do something, you know, windstorm. This weather's really nice for this time of year right now.
5:30 a.m. The boys are back at what they call the hotel, the bunkhouse for single workers. Very nearly ready at this point to call it a day. Day, night, with 24 hours of daylight, it's all the same around here.
Thanks for joining us here on NBC News at Sunrise. Have a good day. We'll see you again here tomorrow.
We get off around 4:30, I guess, and then come and have a shower and go to the kitchen for breakfast. Come back here and watch a bit of TV. Catch the news and that, and then go to bed around 7, I guess.
The kind of routine we're on, we're just heavy equipment, and we once you come off shift, you know, you're kind of beat and you haven't got time for recreation. You just eat and watch a bit of television and then go to bed.
When you come here, the same as you're single, right? You know, because you leave your family behind and you're all alone up here. There's only work and eat and sleep. Just either stay home and go on welfare or come up here and go to work. Stay away from your family.
It'll be another few months before the boys in Nanisivik see their families, but young Tim McCarthy is nearly home. He and a buddy bought an old car out in BC, and they've driven all the way back.
Ross boy, we got her done. We got her licked now. Yep. They're a year over.
Pretty close. Getting warm.
The job is done. We've come full cycle. Jeannie and the kids are waiting. Good night, everyone, from Terrenceville.
This is it. See you later. Thanks, Gus. Yeah. Now, we're all going. I'm home. Were you crying? Let's go with Daddy. Okay.